morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my blessed beloveds out there in Living and Thriving land. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rustie, and I'm Rustie, especially in the morning. Little tough to roll out of bed these days. I know, you don't want to hear it. It's okay. I am super excited. I get to tour all over the world talking about living and thriving with amazing people who have done their best to be of service and to create and to build and to excite and motivate other people to be the very best version of themselves. And from that, there's been a lot of takeaways that you guys have watched over the last few months. One is, what sets your soul on fire? You know, what gets you out of bed? What makes you excited? What makes you happy? What gets you moving? For me, it's the living and thriving world. I love everybody that I've met. They're just part of my new tribe, and they're all over the world. Can you believe there's millions of amazing people all over the world doing amazing things? Who knew? Well, now you know. It's not just the A-listers on TV, and it's not just the bad guys that are on TV. The fabric of humanity exists solely in the good that is overwhelming. I mean, I can't even, there's not enough hours in the day for me to show you all of the beautiful people on this planet, but I devote my life to trying to. I do. And I'm really excited because Meritxell, I can't pronounce your name, girl.
Meritxell. Yeah, Mary's good.
She's got a really beautiful name in writing, and I can see calligraphy, like gorgeous to read, but you know, no, it's not working. But anyway, hi, welcome to Living and Thriving. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
You know, I can't complain. I live in a place that's perpetually sunny. I'm surrounded by oceans and dolphins and rainbows and dinosaurs. If I complained, that just would be a horrible thing, don't you think?
Yeah, complaining is such a waste of time. So it's better to see the beauty in everything, right?
Amen. So who are you? What do you do? And what makes you get up out of bed every morning?
So I'm Meritxell. I'm from Barcelona. I'm a coach and empathy expert. And what makes me get up every morning is really the connection with people. Empathy is my thing, and I feel that is the invisible thread that connects all of us, and it's the interest, the genuine interest to know more about another person.
When I become president, my first book of order is making it mandatory that everybody travel. And your country is one country I have not been to yet, and I'm really excited that because Barcelona has so much history and so much beauty and so much color and flavor. So it's definitely on my hit list. But talk to me about what it's like prospectively for you in Barcelona, looking at the world as we are now. Does it make sense?
Yeah, so I lived in the States as well. And I lived in the UK and in France. So I've had, you know, other realities, like living in other countries, right? So for me, living here, it's a very collectivist country. Like, we like to help each other. Like, there is this sense of community in a way that people connect to each other, you know, on the street, when you go to anywhere, really. It's not only about knowing your neighbors, but taking the opportunity to connect with people everywhere you go. So from where I stand, it's really, I love looking at what's going on, because it gives me some perspective, right? Like, once you look at the world, but you are not in that situation, it gives you some distance that allows you to think further. Sometimes we are so into the situation that we don't see all the angles and the perspective. And I feel it's needed, even when you are in it, that you take a step back and you look at anything that's going on with, distance, but also looking at everybody's opinion and everybody's perspective, because I think perspectives are valid regardless if your opinion is different or you see reality in a different way. We all have our maps of the world in our heads, and I think that it's a good thing that we use that to connect, regardless where you are, what you think, and who you are.
I have been privileged. I worked for a company out of Brussels, so I was able to go back and forth throughout parts of Europe on company business. And I love the world. Like, I love people. I love the beauty and the little hubs of interesting, like, when I first went over to Belgium, they had Nescafe as the coffee choice. And I'm going, where's my Green Mountain coffee roasters? I don't want real coffee. I don't want this mixed stuff. Yeah. You know, but it's like those little tiny things that make traveling really fun, because there's a little tiny things that you don't know until you experience. And you know, the street vendors, when you walk down the restaurant alleys, and they'll literally grab you and pull you into their restaurant. And I'm like, you are so lucky I'm not packing right now. You know, in America, if you did that, you'd get slugged. I mean, it's so, but it's not that they're being rude or mean or hostile. It just was very shocking, because you would never do that here in America. You know what I mean? But it was
a culture, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a culture, and it's those things that they don't tell you on the Travel Channel. You know what I mean? It's just
exactly. You need to feel it. You need to be there. Yeah. But that's the beauty of it. You know, I love going. I love traveling. I studied tourism hospitality management, so that gives me the opportunity to travel around the world. And I feel it just shakes your world, because sometimes you are so focused on what you know that you think that everybody else knows the same thing. And it's not really what it is. And when you're going somewhere new and you get in touch with the culture, you get in touch with people, with food, with language, everything changes, because you need to readjust your vision of what things are, and just look at what they are in that place, because it is different. From the coffee that you drink, that it's not the same one that you drink at home, to, you know, to the light, or you know, to the sky. Like, the sky is different in every place. And so looking at these tiny things and paying attention to them, it makes you evolve and develop as a person as well.
I think it makes you a better person, period. It fueled my gypsy soul. So my big dream is to have a magical RV that just happens to land in my driveway. And
Cool.
I want to travel all over, as far as I can in the RV, actually having these meetings face to face with people, because there's so much to learn, so much culture, so much, and we focus on the negatives versus looking for the beauty and what makes the world absolutely gorgeous, you know?
Yeah, and somehow, you know, we are wired this way, right? Like, our brain looks for the holes, right? Like, what's wrong in the situation. And I think we need to be aware that this is what happens, but this doesn't mean that we need to jump on that train. Like, our brain likes to have things under control. It's like security and certainty. And when this doesn't happen, we just try to avoid it at all costs. But if we try to manage that in a different way and look for these gaps as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to see things differently, we are able to see the good in everything. And to me, this is what makes me tick, really. I like to see the good things, you know, everywhere I go, because of course there are things I'm not gonna like, and there are things that that might not go with me, but that's okay as well. You know, like, having the experience of being somewhere new gives you the opportunity of learning what you want to take back home with you when you are in that place, and pick up the good things that you see everywhere.
So now, do you write a book, or what are you, tell us a little bit more about what you're doing.
So I'm an empathy expert. I wrote a book called The Art of Empathy, and I'm in the process of getting that translated into English. So I hope that's going to be very soon. It's currently published in Spanish. And I'm a highly sensitive person. So I started writing the book when I moved to America, because I realized there about my empathy. I was in Barcelona, you know, in my city, and surrounded by my people, and everything is normal. But once you move out somewhere else, you start also picking up on things that are so you, but you didn't know about them. And this is what happened to me. So really, the book is my journey through understanding how empathic I was, And I wanted to tell other people that it's okay to feel that way, that sometimes um, it's overwhelming to feel people's feelings. It's overwhelming to see the subtleties in the world, because of course you see the beauty in it, but you also see what's not really beautiful as well. So how to handle that on a daily basis. So my book is a very practical book. I talk about different techniques and the main problems that sensible people and highly sensitive people encounter, and how they can overcome them, from overwhelm when you're going to the mall and there's a lot of people and you just, you're freaking out in there because you can feel everybody. Or simple things like when you see all the emotions. You are in a meeting room, or you are in a conference and there's somebody who's angry, or there's somebody who has very strong feelings, and that somehow gets into you and you go with their feelings. So how to understand how to separate what's yours and what's not yours, and ground yourself in your own energy. And although you feel other people, it doesn't mean that you need to go with them. So that has been really my journey, and I wanted to share that with everybody because I feel that when we learn something, the best thing we can do is to share.
So I am incredibly empathic, and I found the older that I get and the more in tuned with vibrations and energy work and that side of me, I have a very difficult time going to the grocery store. And so I pick times where I know that people are at church, so there's not a lot of people. And I always play meditation music in my ear to help keep me, and I don't think people fully understand that sometimes what they're experiencing is not their own. And are you in Barcelona now, or are you in the United States now?
In Barcelona.
You're in Barcelona now. In the United States, I just traveled from Florida to Maine and back. And again, gypsy, I love to travel, and in my car, cruising along with my dogs. And you can feel the energy of the grief and the sadness and, even ancestral energy, which is just purging up here in America. And it's overwhelming. It actually physically pushes something like an elephant, and you have to be able to discern why you're reacting the way you're reacting. Are you reacting from your own set of emotions? Are you reacting because you're picking up somebody else's, and how you turn that off? So I'm so excited that you're going to have this book translated, because we all need a copy.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I've never thought about the fact that I was picking up on other people's energies until there was a moment where I was like, I'm not even sure I was angry 5 minutes ago. And somehow now I'm just angry. I have no reason to be. And I think it's because I interacted with that person. And there's when everything started, getting together for me. But I feel it's really important. Like now with coronavirus times, it happened to me like the first few weeks. There was a lot of fear in the environment. I was in my apartment and I could feel the sadness. I could feel the fear, and it was not mine. And to me, like I am glad that I got that figured out, because in that moment, you can really feel that you're feeling down, like you're feeling like it's the end of the world in that moment. But I could tell it wasn't me. It was just the environment. Like there was a very strong feeling that everybody was having, and that was just being magnified. And somehow I was just the receiver of that. Some people receive it more than others. But I think that what you do with, meditation, or just trying to be aware that this is something that you feel, and try to put measures in place, like you go when there are less people, you are with your meditation music, you're aware of what's happening to you. This awareness, this inside awareness, it's so important, because this is what makes us understand who we are. And if we understand who we are, others will too. Sometimes we want others to understand us, but we have no idea who we are. And it's really, really difficult for this to happen if we are not in tune with ourselves.
Well, and I think, what has not really been talked about too much, I mean, it has on this show, but worldwide, is that the first couple of weeks of COVID, with the misinformation, the misguided directions, the confusion, on top of all of that, our world came to a sudden halt. And people are so used to being busy and filling their days with stuff that they don't really deal with their own interpersonal stuff anyway. So now they have to come face to face with who they are as an individual. They have to come face to face with this person they called, you know, husband or wife, but haven't really been with because they're so busy working, and these little people running around the house making messes, you know, getting good with them because, again, we're so busy. And I think the first couple of weeks, people had an overwhelming amount of grief turn up from stuff that they hadn't dealt with from their past. And so that's very hard to bear witness to as an empath, I think. I know I cried randomly, like it was just the most bizarre thing. I was, woo, and it just hurts so much because people don't understand that we are vibration. And when the collective is experiencing one tonality, we all feel it.
Yeah, and you know, to me, it's very simple. I always give the same example, right? When you are sitting down, you can feel that someone's looking at you and you're not seeing them, right? We all know that because we have experienced that. And it doesn't matter if you call it energy, if you call it, you know, vibration, if you call it intuition, it doesn't matter what the name is for you. But I feel there is something that connects us to each other. And when there are these emotions collectively that we share, and this is not something that happens often, but when there are these world events that happen at the same time for everybody, there is this strong emotion. And as you said, it's very difficult to deal with that. But on top of that, there was the emotion that was happening in every household. Like you live with people that you only see for a very short amount of time. And you don't pay attention to them. They don't pay attention to you, and they just go by. And you don't know a lot of what's going on, you know, in their heads, in their lives, because you just share tiny moments during dinner, or you know, cooking or rushing from point A to point B. But once all this churn stops, and you're in the same house 24/7, things change. Things change. I mean, I hope for the better, but things change because this is where you need to be aware. This is where you need to pay attention, and you need to slow down. And we have a lot of trouble slowing down because this means that we need to hear of what's going inside of us and what's happening, you know, inside of other people that we share our lives with. And I think that for me, it's been a great opportunity. I feel that, of course, nobody's glad that this happened, but sometimes there are things that happen for a reason, and I feel that we need it. We so needed connection and go back to what's truly important, because I don't think that there's anybody that can say that you are the same person that you were prior to this, because things have changed in how you operate in your daily basis. And so you pay attention to the good things and the things that you have, in the relationships that you have, in the family, and the things that you didn't know that you were so grateful to have. But when something is a danger, it's an outside warning. This is when things get into the right place, and you can see with perspective what's important and what you need to let go, and it doesn't matter anymore.
I think there's a huge, I call this the cosmic reset that is really overdue. And I think that out of this, there's going to be another reset, because people are not going to want to burn 13, 14 hours a day for Mr. Company Man. They're going to want to hold on to and cherish the things that they have now, because they missed out on so much for Mr. Company Man. And so I think just as a business construct, companies are going to have to get really smart and really innovative to keep their employees. There's parents out there that have never been able to ride their bikes with their kids because they come home so late, they eat dinner, they do laundry, and then they still check their emails for work, and they miss that window of opportunity because the kids are homework, bed, you know what I mean? And so those families are really growing into the ideology that maybe it wasn't worth all of those hours. Maybe if I got a job closer to home, or maybe if I work out of the home, and people are reinventing the way their future looks. And I love it. Like, I'm so excited. This has been a great time for me as well. I've done nothing but living and thriving, and this is my happy place. So for me, it's been not only a spiritual welcoming, you know, it's been a cultural welcoming, because I've been to Thailand, I've been to New Zealand, to Spain twice now, 3 times now. You know, and I get to meet amazing people from all over the world, and that just enriches myself personally. But then I get to share it with thousands of people who watch or listen to my program, which it enriches them too. So it's just a win-win. I mean, this is like the greatest time in my history.
No, definitely. And I think you touched a very important point, right? Like, people have tasted what it's like to be home and what it's like to enjoy those moments. And this is in the collective memory. This is not going away. So there is no going back to the normal that we knew. We are back to a new normal. And that new normal means that everybody will have to adapt, and companies first. Like, to me, the future is leadership with empathy. There is no way that companies will survive if they don't treat their employees as human beings with needs, human beings that need development, that have a family as everybody else, and that work is work, and you need to be productive because this is what you're paid for, but you also need to get something out of it, that it has to be more than doing 5 reports a week and 14 hours of work a day. There has to be some human connection, some true will of developing employees, of seeing people for who they are and not just numbers. And to me, I think that the shift has started. I feel that we still have a long way to go, but now we were all in the same position, you know, leaders, CEOs, or the people in the front line. We were all in the same exact situation. And my hope is that this is the catalyst for a true change on how companies operate. And I feel that it's not going to make only employees happier, it's going to make companies much more profitable. Because when you wake up in the morning and you want to go somewhere to work because it's your life purpose, it's not because you get a paycheck at the end of the day, everything changes because there's motivation, there's will to do things, there is responsibility of what you're doing. And I feel that it's been a great opportunity for all those changes that were long due, but now somehow it's been the time where all the pieces came together for this to happen.
Well, and I think, I don't know, have you ever watched the movie Scrooged?
No, I haven't, no.
Do you know the book, The Lorax?
Yes,
That,
I've
you
heard
know,
about
okay.
that.
So Scrooged is about a man who is so greedy and filthy rich that he just tramples all over everybody. He doesn't give a crap about the poor. He just wants money, 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 money. He won't, you know, his employees have to work even on Christmas. And then Christmas past comes and visits him in the middle of the night, and Christmas future, and all of these things to give him perspective of what he's doing in his life or not doing productively. And so we have had that movie over in various forms, cartoon and so forth, for my whole lifespan. And then the book, The Lorax, which talks about environmental consciousness and being environmentally aware. My point is, we have, in our culture, have all of these warnings that we've had since we were kids, and they come up and come up and come up, but all of a sudden, when it really happens, people act like they weren't aware that it was going to happen. It's just very bizarre to me. It's like, well, we were overdue for a good plague.
Yeah, but it's like, to me, it's like the story of the wolf, you know? Like, I don't know if this is typical in America, but like there's this this guy who's like screaming to the town, the wolf is coming, the wolf is coming, and he's like joking about it, right? But there's a moment where it's true that the wolf is coming, and then nobody believes him, right? So to me, this is a bit like that. We have been hearing the same stories to a point that we are just immune to those stories. Like it doesn't do anything to us. We just hear it so many times that sure, we know they are true, but it doesn't really take anything. Like I remember that when we were in quarantine, like fully quarantine, I saw these videos from Venice, like the Venice canals. There were dolphins in the Venice canals, and it was blue. I don't think I've ever seen this kind of color of water in Venice at all. But this sort of reminds us that there is an alternative that gets us to a better place. It's just that we have heard the story, but we have never seen the result. And to me, seeing the result changes what we want to do about it, because you know that there is a true alternative that's possible, that you have seen the effects of it. But when you are so used to your reality, if you don't have to take the car because you know that, if you don't do it 5 times a week and you just do it once, you're going to still see dolphins in your canal next to your house. Maybe you think about it. But if you don't have that image in your head, it doesn't matter, because every day is the same, right? So to me, this makes a true change on how we see things, because we have seen how they could be. And this has taken us out of that bubble that we were living in, where things were the same every day. And now I feel that it's shaking some consciousness here. And I hope that drives us into a path that's different, because if we go back to the same place, then it wouldn't have been worth it,
So tasting the experience, that's what you're basically saying. We are just going to keep muddling on and ignoring things until we actually hit that wall. That makes us pretty stubborn.
Yeah, but I think we like predictability, like we like to see what we always see. And so if we want to do something different, to me, there are only two ways, right? Either you have a very strong will and you have a purpose to make that change, or you need to see the benefit. And people who had the purpose, they were doing things about it, but it was a minority. Those who really need to see the benefit, my hope is that this time has given them that taste of what the benefit would look like. And so there is more motivation to change your personal behavior. And if we all change our behavior, then that is what makes a real change.
I think it's fun to reinvent, recreate, and dig really deep in yourself. I like rummaging in my personal emotional quagmire, my little attic of stuff, because there are so many things that you can do as a human being on this planet to be a better version of yourself. And for me, I almost died 3 times and was in extreme abuse. So my appreciation, because I tasted that experience, is to embrace every sunrise. Like every morning I'm up before the sun, and it's a gift to me to be alive. That in itself is just a miracle. I'm given another day to be ornery. I'm given another day to play. I'm given another day to be a better version of myself. So I take that very seriously, because one day I'm not going to wake up, and that's going to suck, at least for heaven, because I don't know if they have Nerf guns up there. Anyway, but talk to us a little bit about the things that you would recommend. Like for me, it's the sunrise and being grateful for life. What other kinds of things can people work on that are little, attainable, easy to recreate themselves?
Yeah, so to me, empathy is the driver of a lot of things. And having empathy to yourself, it's something that I don't hear a lot about, because we always talk about empathy to other people, but we are the worst friends to ourselves. Like we talk to ourselves in our head in a way that we would never talk to anybody like that. we would have no friends whatsoever. To me, working on your inner talk, it's something that will give everybody major results, because you don't want to sit in the mean girls table in high school in your head. You want to sit in the they want me to sit here kind of table, right? So there is a mean voice that we all have. So one of the things that I teach to my clients is that it's useful to label things. So labeling thoughts or labeling the things that come through. So if I wake up in the morning and I am angry and I'm having thoughts, I label them. This is, this is anger. This is ego. This is criticism. This is sadness. So labeling that gives you some distance from your thoughts. Sometimes we are so sure that we are our thoughts, but our thoughts should not define us. We should question them. Because what if you're having a bad day and your thoughts really suck? This doesn't mean that you suck as a person, right? So, but sometimes we think that it's two things that go together. So labeling thoughts is a very powerful thing, but also inner talk, in the sense, if you talk to yourself in the second person, so I talk to me and I say, Meritxell, we're gonna do this today, instead of saying, I am gonna do this today. This gives you also just a little bit of distance from yourself, right? Just a little bit. So changing language on how we talk to ourselves changes everything. Because if we're empathic to us, like I wake up in the morning and I'm telling myself, I am angry. I know I am angry because I've labeled my thoughts. I am aware of my state, and I'm able to say, okay, what do I need right now? So I need to be empathic with my emotional state, because sure, it's very easy when you are just happy, and everything is great, but this doesn't happen every day, and that's okay too. So what do we do when we are in that state? So we need to first be aware and then do something about it. And to do that, we need to listen not only to our thoughts, but also to our emotions. How do we feel in every moment? And understand that we need to give ourselves what we need. Sometimes we are so eager to wait for others to resolve our life. We give others so much responsibility about our own things. I think that this is, it's human automatic behavior, but we need to change that, because we have so much responsibility. And the good thing is that if you can do it yourself, why would you need somebody else to have a magic ball to read your thoughts and your needs and stuff like that? This is so much more difficult than just listen to yourself, understand what's going on, know what you need to do for yourself, and just do it, because you're going to feel a lot better. And we all have these ups and downs, but I think that the difference is, what do we do about them? Because you were saying, I wake up in the morning and I'm grateful. Being grateful is one of the bases of empathy as well, because it gives you perspective. You see the whole picture. Sometimes in 24 hours, we had an argument with someone and our day is completely screwed. For 30 minutes of an argument with someone, we missed 23 hours and 30 minutes. This is how our brain works. It's just the gaps, right? So it was the highlight of the day, so we forget about everything else. So another thing that we can do is, we need to be aware of the other 23 hours that happened, and we forget so easily. So we need to make us remember. And this means waking up in the morning and doing a list of 10 things that you loved about yesterday. My husband prepared me a coffee, and I love when he does something for me because I like coffee in the morning, or I had a good conversation with the supermarket lady, and we were just talking about cheese, and it was fun, because it doesn't have to be big things. Life is made of very tiny moments that make it special, and we just forget. We just put it in our bags and just move on, and we just put the highlight sometimes in the things that hurt us the most, and we don't put it in the things that help us the most. So you own that highlight, and you can change that. And to me, life happens as me. Like, life doesn't happen to me. So you can decide what kind of life you want to have and how do you want to see the world. And this, again, it's responsibility. This is work. I mean, this is not you wake up one day and you are just a meditation guru. This doesn't happen like that. Like, this is an empathic gym that you go through it. Damn it, right? I mean, it would be so easy, but it's not what reality is. I mean, this means you need to train yourself the same way that you would go to the gym to train your muscles. You need to go to the empathic gym to train your empathy, and you need to train your brain to move the focus somewhere else. And sometimes we have been doing that for so long that we have so many brain connections in there, and we don't like to change patterns. And we have a fight. We have an internal fight. My new me, my old me, and they're just fighting to see who wins in that situation. But there's a moment that when you make a change that makes you happier and you change your patterns, your thought patterns, your behaviors, you end up in a place where you don't want to go back to that old you that was focusing on the negative. So I would say,
historical you. Bye. I saw the old me and I said, bye, Felicia. I'm out.
Totally. And it's great. It's a great feeling, you know? And sometimes you see your old you coming back and you're like, ooh, I don't want to do that anymore. But you are aware that this is happening. And to me, you know, it's great to have the opportunity to see ourselves from the inside and peel off the things that we don't like and just let go of those. Like, nobody's forcing you to do that.
I think aside from going to Empathy Gym, which I absolutely love, I want that as a mug. I do 250 cosmic pounds, man. I think that what you put into yourself, whether it's food, movies, social media, whatever you put into this part of your body comes out, it leaches out. So if you're constantly obsessed with the drama llamas and Facebook and all the negativity that's out there, you're going to leach that negativity. You're going to become that. That is the food that you were feeding your mind, body, and soul. And aside from going to the spiritual gym, I honestly feel like people need to just tap out of the negativity and absolutely refuse it. Just stop for 7 days and you will literally feel your body. And you'll sleep better and your conversations will be better and healthier because you're not, you know, that whole, like, that just made me feel gross. And that was pretending.
Yeah, and it's such a relief, you know. These days, for example, I was at the beginning we were all watching the news, I guess, because we didn't know what was going on. But there was a moment where I was like, this is so not bringing me anything new here. Like, this is not what I want, because everybody's in panic mode, right? And I am not in panic mode. Like, I have to be home. I have to be home. I'm going to make the most of it. I wrote another book. It's great. You know, so you need to see opportunities. And sometimes this means that you need to isolate from certain things and from certain people. One of the things that I talk about in my book is toxic relationships. And this is something that is core, because in the end, we end up doing and being who we are surrounded with. And we don't realize that this happens because we are just in this hamster, you know, in this hamster wheel, and we don't see how this is harming us in some way. But I would encourage everybody to do some sprinkling. Sprinkling is great, of relationships. Like, what are you taking home when you are with that person? What are you taking from that relationship? What are you bringing to that relationship? Because sometimes if you pay the same attention that you pay to yourself, you pay that attention to others, you're going to realize that you have friends that they use you as an idea dumpster, that you go have a coffee and you end up there and you're like drained, like you've been rolled over by a bus, that you haven't even talked.
You cut the cords, cut them. Yeah, I mean, that is the most exhausting feeling on the planet, because people like us, you know, and I'm sure you feel this way. When I go 150% pure love, pure open, pure yes. And then I walk out like, oh my God, what did I just do to myself? And in that, you cut cords. You end up learning that, you know, the relationships are generally one-sided. Um, everybody grows at different speeds and rates and different directions. So sometimes that relationship you've outgrown because you're on a different path. And none of it should give you a feeling of guilt. It's setting your own spiritual boundaries. It's setting your own love. It's saying, you know what, I love this person. But in this timeline of who I am today, this is not the right relationship for me to continue my growth on my path. And that's really a key, because I think a lot of people associate, well, if I don't do this for them, then, and that's not what it's about. It's, you can't be fully in love and fully in charge and fully awake in your journey if you are being held back.
Yeah, and I feel that there are a lot of people pleasing tendencies, and I was guilty of that, very, very guilty. But that made me small so others could be comfortable. And this is not where you want to be. You want to occupy all the space that you need. And if other people don't feel comfortable, I am sorry. I mean, I can love them from far, but I don't want that kind of people around me, because these people don't love me by who I am. They love me when I am the way they need. And this is not a healthy relationship.
That's a really hard lesson to learn for a lot of people, because those relationships sometimes, most of the time, are actually family members. And there's that notion that, you know, blood's thicker than water. Well, if that blood's, you know, anemic, and I just know, like, I don't want to know. And that's self-care at its greatest. And it's not about being guilty. It's not about being sad. It's not, you know, you might have a grief experience when you do cut those cords, but honestly, at the end of the day, if they're not paying your bills, you don't got time for that. That is my absolute number one philosophy. If you're going to pay me $50 an hour to sit here and bitch and complain and moan, okay, I have time for that. If you're not, I gotta go. I got better things to do, like roller skating or finger painting or stargazing or hanging out with my tribe and drinking whiskey at a fire. I mean, you know, there's just so many other wonderful things that I could do that would be fulfilling and enriching, rather than stagnating in that negativity. I can't do it. I'm getting too old. I am getting old.
Yeah, no, I can't do that either. You know, I've learned my lesson, believe me. Like, I have stumbled upon people that I thought they were something and they were something else, but it wasn't their fault. It was my fault, because I am the one who chooses. And we need to choose wisely, because time is not free and your energy is not free either. And sometimes you cannot get into a better space because you are surrounded by people that are just holding you. They're just holding you down, and you just can't elevate, because you are, you know, people pleasing people. You are doing things for others because otherwise they won't love you, or you think that this will get you far from them. But in the end, you need to realize, what kind of relationships do you need? And the fact that they are your family, I'm sorry, that shouldn't mean anything, because if you are my family and you are hitting me with a stick, I don't see how you get extra brownie points just for being family, you know? The problem is not if you have a blood connection or not. The thing is, what is the behavior? And it doesn't matter from whom it's coming from. And this doesn't mean that you need to, you know, stop seeing your family, or like you won't have friends anymore. But you also need to, like, evaluate what kind of relationship do you need, because maybe you just need to lower it down. You know, maybe you're seeing that person 5 times a week. Maybe now you just do it once every 2 weeks, and that's okay too. You know, or you have some rules. No negativity in this phase, okay? No complaining, and you know, and so maybe they can do that for an hour. You know. So it's a matter of finding that right balance of, you know, these people, what kind of relationship you want to have with them. And if you don't, you don't. And also say go, you know.
All right, love bug. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I get to be the needle in your balloon because we got to go. But I do want everybody to try to reach out to you, and you're going to have to send me your information again because my email was destroyed. So everything that I had up until Saturday, it's gone. So that way, when I post the video, your links and everything will be down here. But where do we find more information about you? And do you have an ETA as to when your book's going to be in English?
So I don't know yet, but hopefully next year. So I'll definitely reach out. So yeah, want to get the word out in English. So they can find me in Instagram. It's my name, Meritxell Garcia R, and in my website, meritxellgarciaroch.com. But I'll give you links because I certainly know my name is difficult even for saying. So they'll get all the information.
You are a beautiful soul, sister. Thank you for sharing time with us today. And please stay in touch. It's nice to meet people of the same cloth.
Yeah, it's been lovely. Thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
Bye, love. Have a good day.
Bye. You too. Bye.
You're watching Living and Thriving with Rustie, and I'm Rustie. And what a freaking journey I'm on. This is an amazing planet, even though it's just one big belching rock. Think about it. That's all it does. It churns and belches, and for some reason, cats haven't thrown us off yet, so I don't think we're flat. I'm pretty convinced we're round. Anyway, what a great experience. What sets your soul on fire? Cutting ties with things that are not good for you, that are not serving your purpose. Boom, it's all there. And you know what? Setting boundaries and getting rid of negativity. You know, what you put in your mind, what you put in your mouth, if it's not good for you, it's going to come out. So, you know, who do you want to be in this world? It's just an amazing experience. And I'm so glad you guys get to join me. Whew, maybe I'm talking in the first, second, and third person now. I don't know. I'm getting old. That dementia is creeping up, isn't it? Anyway, know that you're loved. Know that you're beautiful. Know that I truly believe that you can do this. And, you know, 7 days, I challenge you. 7 days, no negativity, not even out of your mouth. You stub your toe. Oh, that was fun. Try it. I challenge you. 7 days. Your body will feel a lot better. Then after that, you can swear. That's your gift. Be kind to yourself. Go dance, go play. Eat some healthy, yummy fruits and vegetables. Go sing, go walk in the park, finger paint. I don't know. Grab a Nerf gun and start popping a cap in your husband's ass. Whatever makes you happy, go and do. But be kind, and be kind to yourself. Until next time.